Down the shore from the boardwalk, two college students sit and watch the waves crash onto the beach. They're from out of town and spending the last remaining evening in the cove before heading back to the Bay Area. The girl stares out at the ocean and eyes an old abandoned mansion that sits on an island about a mile offshore. The mansion once belonged to the first mayor of October's Cove, Wilkins Groiner. He had it built in 1885 and lived there with his wife until the day they both disappeared. Neither of them were ever found. The authorities assumed that they had drowned in the surf and their bodies were washed out to the bay. No one else ever lived in the house, despite its size and location. There were rumors circulating about opening it as a historical museum, but the funding fell through and it was only partially restored. That was 30 years ago. Now the mansion just sits and rots away on the harsh salt air. But once in a while, the ghost stories surface again. Stories of lights and sounds coming from the Groiner mansion. But those stories have been disputed by Sheriff Barr and Deputy Tonks, especially after the disappearances last summer. It seems every year people go missing during the summer months. Since then, the mansion has been classified as restricted because of safety concerns. No one is allowed to venture into the house anymore. It's really nice here, the girl says as she snuggles up to her boyfriend, still staring out at the mansion. He sips a beer and nods at her, highly intoxicated. Yeah, but I heard once the summer's over, this town kinda sucks. I also heard this weird guy talking about how there was a couple of missing people last summer. Some out-of-towners. They said they were going out to the mansion and then they just disappeared. She looks up at him as a chill runs down her spine. What happened to them? He makes a throat-cutting motion at her and tries to scare her. She pushes him away, irritated. Knock it off, Bob. Seriously, what happened to them? Bob shrugs, belches, and continues to drink his beer. Drowned? Fell through a floor and got impaled? Got eaten by a ghost? Who knows? I heard they searched the area but never found them. The more important question is, where can I pee? He laughs and stands up, walking away for some privacy. She looks out at the mansion again and shudders. Want to go for a swim? She calls to him. As he relieves himself, he starts laughing. Why? So you can get eaten by a shark while I pass it on the beach? Maybe we can sneak out there and catch a ghost on film or whatever. Make some money off it. He doesn't hear a response. Babe? Babe. Linda? He turns around, unsteady on his feet, and stumbles back to where they were just sitting. Linda is nowhere to be found. He looks around confused. Hey Linda, if you're trying to scare me because of that stupid house out there, it isn't going to work. He staggers back and turns around, and a man with a scruffy beard and shoulder-length hair stares back at him. Hey there. You looking for someone? The man asks calmly with a southern accent. He smiles politely at Bob, seemingly interested in his response. Bob looks around again, confused and drunk. I was here with my girlfriend, Linda. I went off to take a leak and now I can't find her. Bob stumbles again, and the man grabs his arm to steady him. Bob squints at him, trying to adjust his sight through his intoxication. Where did you come from? It's like you just appeared out of nowhere. The man chuckles and looks away, then returns his gaze with more intensity. Now that's just weird. Your girlfriend just disappearing and me just appearing? He looks up quickly, like he's just seen something. What was that? Bob turns around, unsteady, looking in the direction that the man did. But there's nothing there. What was what? He asks as he continues to look. When he doesn't get a reply, he turns back around, but the man is nowhere to be found. What the hell is going on? Bob mumbles. Hey you, someone whispers from above him. He quickly looks up and his face contorts in horror. He screams and tries to back away but falls into the sand. He tries to scoot back but the man floats down over him, grabs him, and floats up into the air again. Bob screams for help but the man covers his mouth. What's wrong? I thought you wanted to see Linda again, the man whispers. Then his face contorts into something monstrous. His eyes turn black as a shark's. His forehead hangs low over his eyes and his skin pales to the gray of a corpse. Small dark veins run through his face and his jaw elongates, exposing a set of long, deadly canine teeth that glisten in the moonlight. Bob screams even harder, but his screams are muffled through the vampire's hand. The vampire laughs and snaps his head forward, sinking his teeth into Bob's neck. The vampire releases his bite as blood gushes from Bob's neck. The vampire laughs as the blood squirts onto his face and shirt. The blood begins to stain Bob's shirt, and he starts to fade into a blissful unconsciousness. It doesn't hurt anymore. The vampire leans in and drinks deep from Bob's neck, slowly floating down to the ground again, taking the time to drain Bob's life away. By the time the vampire lands in the sand, Bob is limp in his arms. The vampire continues to drink until Bob's heart stops. He slowly raises his head and takes a deep, euphoric breath as the bloodlust calms down. He lets Bob's body slip from his arms and fall onto the blood-stained sand. He looks down and wipes his mouth with the back of his arm. "Ah, Bane, now we're gonna have to clean this up," an Englishwoman says as she slowly and gracefully comes up to him. She too has a mouth covered in blood, although she has already transformed back into her human visage. Her name is Diana, and she's been a vampire for a very long time. She looks down at the body, amused. "You're such a slob," she says slowly as she runs her thumb over his lips, wiping the leftover blood from them, and places her thumb into her mouth. "This one was so drunk I can taste it." Bane chuckles. "Why do you think I picked him? I like the buzz. We can just take them back to the island and toss them in the water. The currents will do the rest." Diana nods at him, the edges of her blood-stained mouth curving up into a smile. "I forgot how much I love this town," Bane says. "More drunk, horny partiers than I can eat." Diana nods. "At least during the summer. After that we have to get takeout. But there are other towns around here that we can go to. Don't forget what Vince always says about feeding in the town you're in." "Something about a frog in a pond, right?" Bane smirks at her. Apart from hunting and killing, Bane's greatest pleasure is getting under people's skin, no matter who they are. That's why he chose the name Bane after all. Diana scowls at him. The frog doesn't drink up the pond where it lives. Bane smirks again. "Yeah, that. That ain't why we're here anyways, now is it?" he asks her. Diana nods and smiles, closing her eyes. "The Witch's Gate. I can already feel its power. Can't you?" Bane nods with a wicked smile as Diana looks down at Bob's corpse. "We should be off. Vince will be waiting for us. You grab him. I'll grab the other one."